It's the holiday, and every holiday I like to do holiday videos. I've put it off. Thanksgiving's tomorrow, or if you're watching the video late, it has already been.
Sorry!
It's a time compression thing connected with videos, you know. When I woke up this morning, I looked at my shirt, and I saw this. You see it? I looked at it carefully, and I said, this is a picture of William F. Buckley. It is a miracle from above. And it hit me that last night I ate spaghetti, and it fell off the fork and hit my shirt.
Oh, no!
It started the holidays off wrong, because I immediately thought, what crazed mind would invent spaghetti, food that cannot be held on a fork, marring my shirt? It just started the holidays off for me wrong. I got to thinking of other things that made the holidays wrong. I raised some boys, was guardian to them. Every holiday, every Thanksgiving, there would always be a Mrs. Brown. Oh, she had different names. She always had a big nose. They would tell the kids, "You don't have any parents, you poor child. Why don't you come and spend Thanksgiving with me?" I raised 3 boys. I never had them all together at the same time on a holiday. It was always because of that Mrs. Brown. I used to want to say, "I'll go see Mrs. Brown." And I'd like to knock on the door and have her swing the door open, and I'd like to just punch her in that big nose and say, "Mrs. Brown, I'm the person that's raising that kid, and I really love them, and I would like to be at home with them and have Thanksgiving dinner, you old battle axe, if you don't mind." And then I thought about it, and I thought about the potential of a lawsuit, headlines in the newspaper, talk show host socks old lady in the nose. I thought about potentials of eBay, and then I realized there was no eBay back then. So I didn't do it. But it always bothered me when I tell the kid, "But I bought a turkey." Yeah, let's not be depressive. No. Other things depressed me about the holidays, too. Like, it was in November, I believe, when our lives in this country changed back in the 60s. John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Oh, I remember that well. And I remember that other assassinations followed immediately. He's talking conspiracy here. Well, I don't know if it's conspiracy. It's just what I'm thinking this morning. Bob Kennedy. Martin Luther King. I think our timeline of history changed drastically during those days. And then last night I was watching a rerun of The SOPRANOS, and this came to mind. I'm not talking to the younger viewers who I am grateful and appreciate, and you're the reason really that I do these videos, because I care about you greatly. But you can't know the answer to these questions, so I ask the older people to watch the videos, and maybe you young people can just sit and take into your minds what you're seeing here. But when Lyndon Johnson, who I had the opportunity to brag and say I did interview, what an impressive sight that guy was when he stepped off Air Force One. He was like 10'7" tall, and he had a hat. I have never seen such a big hat as Lyndon Johnson had, and he tipped it in the air. Wow. But I'll never forget the network news. This is a question I ask the older people, my age, that lived this. Every day there would be a story about the mafia, talking about how they were corrupt and they were just corrupting the government and everything. And Bob Kennedy was the Attorney General, and Bob Kennedy was having hearings, and they were investigating the mafia. And then, after Kennedy is assassinated, Lyndon Johnson comes into office. There was a press conference, and I remember sitting on the sofa, or was I laying? Does that even matter? No. I was laying on the sofa, eating popcorn. Yeah. And a reporter asked Lyndon Johnson, "Are you going to continue with the investigations of the mafia?" And Lyndon Johnson said, "There is no mafia." And with those words, the reporter, A, did not pursue the question any further, and B, I've never heard a story on network news since that day regarding the mafia. And watching The Sopranos, that played in my mind last night. I wonder if anyone else has noticed that. Is it just an oversight that slipped out of the news like that? Or perhaps am I hallucinating and just thinking this happened in their stories all the time about the mafia on the TV news? You younger viewers, you can answer that question. Those of you who are in your 30s and below, you remember ever seeing a story on the network news about the mafia? Isn't that strange? Hey, y'all have a happy holiday, and if you will excuse me.